Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining. My name is Angela Brooks, and I'm the Small Business and Employment Resources Coordinator with St. Louis County Library. Thank you for joining this virtual program, HUBZone Contracting Certifications. This program is part of our Small Business and Nonprofit Expo that's held today, October 3rd through 7th, at 5 of our St. Louis County Library locations. We are particularly happy to be presenting and facilitating this expo. It is that our 10-year anniversary for providing small business and nonprofit services. And we're also very happy to be joined by our partner, the Small Business Administration. Today's presentation will be facilitated by SBA. I'd like to introduce to everyone Nikki Massey, Outreach and Marketing Specialist, who's on her second assignment with SBA. Her current duties include Co-Project Manager of Small Business Week of Eastern Missouri, Public Affairs Officer, Hubzone Liaison, and Purchase Card Holder. During her previous assignment with SBA, she was the Public Affairs Specialist / Administrative Officer. Nikki has worked for the United States Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Personnel Management, Federal Investigative Services, and U.S. Army Recruiting Command. She is also an Army veteran. Good afternoon, Nikki.
Hi, thanks, Angela. And first, let me apologize if I say morning instead of afternoon, because 95% of the time we give our presentations in the morning. So just bear with me if I do that. Another thing is I want to tell you what a great resource you all have in the St. Louis County Library. There are so many services that are offered. I was just sharing with Angela that I had some paperwork I needed notarized, and I went to my local branch the other day and got my paperwork notarized. So not only do they have, the services for the business and nonprofits and lots of, research and all kinds of things, reference and research and tons of books and magazines or whatever else. So it's a great resource, and I urge everyone to take advantage of it. With that being said, we'll get down to business. So you're here for the Hubzone presentation. So in order to be able to take advantage of SBA's contracting programs, you need to be a small business by SBA size standards. You need to have one of the normal types of businesses. I apologize, my dog is being a butt. And you need to operate primarily within the U.S. And non-qualified businesses include those who are primarily operate outside the U.S. and nonprofits are not considered businesses for SBA purposes. Another thing is that businesses who do business that the SBA or that the federal government does not consider legal, you can't contract, for example, for gambling, even though it's legal, but the federal government's not going to contract for that. And marijuana, you're not going to be able to contract for marijuana because it's still illegal federally, even if it's legal in most of the states now. So just make note of that. So you need to know your NAICS code. Your NAICS code is your North American Industry Classification Code. Your library can help you find your NAICS code, but it defines what kind of business you're in. And the Census Bureau is the one who sets those out. No, ma'am. So that determines that shows what your business is in. My friend Gary Alexander, who usually does these webinars with me, he always pretends he's a roofer. I'm not going to pretend I'm a roofer. I'm scared to death of heights. So we're not even going to go pretending that today. Anyway, you need to have a traditional business plan. You can take a look at the aspects of a traditional business plan that you should have in place in order to be able to apply for federal contracts. You need to have adequate cash flow. But on top of the adequate cash flow, you need to demonstrate character, the cash flow. You need to have collateral to offer to lenders. You need to have capitalizations and liquid holdings and earnings. And you need to consider whether outside conditions could be impairing your ability to contract. Everybody has encountered outside conditions for the last 2.5 years. COVID has been a huge outside condition. Current inflation is a huge outside condition. Shipping and supply delays is another outside condition. The war in Ukraine and what the cascading effect it's having on various supplies is another outside condition. You need to take all those into consideration when you're applying for federal contracts to fulfill these contracts. So is your business ready? Does the government buy what you sell? Do you have federal contracting experience? Do you have the cash and inventory and working capital on hand? Are you capable of fulfilling that contract? And do you know where to find contracting opportunities? Normally, when we do these presentations, we have somebody from the Missouri Procurement Technical Assistance Center presenting with us. That's the Missouri PTAC for short. They're a great resource for finding contracts that are available, for helping you do that kind of research once you get into contracting, and they offer their services at no cost. So if you're interested in government contracting, I do urge you to reach out to your PTAC representative. So there are 3 main kinds of contracts. There's full and open, there's small business set-asides, and there are sole source contracts. The US government is the world's largest buyer of goods and services. 23% of small business dollars are intended for small businesses. There's been a bill in front of the Senate for a while to increase that to 25%. I'm not sure what's happening with the bill right now, since we're now in a new legislative session and a new fiscal year. So here's a little bit more explanation of the different kinds of contracts. With a full and open competition, that means you're going to be going up against big businesses. You know, if you're in computers, you could be going up against IBM or something. When there's contracting set-asides for small businesses or HUBZone or 8A, that means they're set aside for just that type of business. And then sole source, they can designate who's going to get that contract. So these are how the set-asides are this is the government's target. So for women-owned small businesses, 5%. For small disadvantaged businesses, including 8A, 5%. Hubzone businesses, 3%. Service disabled veteran-owned, 3%. The rest of the set-asides for small business are for small businesses at large. Now, the only one of those that we are not meeting is the Hubzone set-aside. So if you are looking at purchasing or leasing office space, always consider looking at putting your business into a Hubzone, because you could be eligible for set-asides. So Hubzone Certification. Hubzone stands for Historically Underutilized Business Zone, and it's there to stimulate capital investment, build capacity, and grow. And so you can access Hubzone set-aside contract dollars. Now, most Hubzones are either going to be in rural areas where there's not a whole lot of businesses, or in more disadvantaged parts of urban areas. So that's usually where your Hubzones are, and you can see it from maps. So is the Hubzone certification right for you? You must be a 51% owner. You must be located in a Hubzone. 35% of your employees must live in a Hubzone, but they don't have to live in the same Hubzone your business is located in. You must meet SBA size standards. There is no minimum time in business for a Hubzone certification. There is for 8A certification. So if you ever hear about 8A certifications, there's going to be a minimum time in business, generally speaking, for that. You have to meet the next code's requirements, and there are exceptions for certain groups. So SBA's HUBZone responsibilities, and this happens at headquarters level. It does not happen at our level. SBA implements and regulates the program. We determine, adjudicate eligibility. We streamline the certification process and maintain the certification listings. And that's just a recap there. So here's some more information about the Hubzone application process. So now, one thing I would like to make note of is the US government has stopped using the DUNS number. We are now using the unique entity identifier, which is assigned with your SAM registration. There are some significant issues with SAM registration right now, that system for award management. So if you need to update or register in SAM, I strongly recommend that you get with a PTAC representative, because it can save you a lot of hassle. It can save you weeks worth of delays and filling out help desk tickets, because they know most of the workarounds that are in place right now. Here's the information, the supporting information that you'll need to have. And then once you're certified, you have to participate in site visits, continue to meet the Hubzone criteria, maintain SBA standards, and recertify every 3 years. So to get the most out of your Hubzone certification, you're going to qualify for set-asides or sole source contract awards, which are going to increase your prime and subcontracting opportunities. You're going to have the opportunity to build capacity and grow by establishing joint ventures or participating in the mentor protege program. You're going to have access to training, management, and technical assistance programs, guaranteed loans, and bonding assistance. I would like to make a note at this time that we do have a surety bond guarantee webinar that our office is presenting with Tamara Murray from the Hubzone office, December 1st. So if you're interested in bonding, like if you're in a construction business and you're interested in surety bonding, then make sure you check that out. And that's how you reach us. Oops. I thought I had some information about the mentor protege program. Sorry. Hold on. I'll have to go into another. I took too much out of this PowerPoint. So let me go into one that has a little more of the information. I apologize. All right. All right, so. Oh no, that's not the one I wanted. Sorry. I went in to take some of the information out, and I took out too much information. Well, I guess I can just talk about it. So we also have the mentor protege program and the joint ventures. So the mentor protege program is, for example, if you're a business and you want to work with a big business, then you can enter into a mentor protege agreement, and that will allow that big business to do part of the contract work. They can infuse several things into your business. They can infuse capital, they can infuse experience, use their equipment, manpower, etc. It's just that all the funds have to flow in through the protege and not through the mentor. So they get to do a portion of the contract, and then you get to use their resume, as it were, their experience in that field. So you could pair up and team with a big business and learn a lot. The other thing that you could do is what's called a joint venture. So a joint venture is where you can you can work with another small business, and you can work together and set up this joint venture and apply for contracts, and you can still use each other's resumes, and it gives you a great opportunity to build and to go for something that you might not be eligible for, you might not be big enough to apply for on your own. The other thing to consider is doing subcontracting work. A lot of small businesses, when they first get into contracting, go into subcontracting work. So that's something else to consider. Now, let's see if we have any questions. And then what I'll do is take you through our website if we don't have any questions. Angela, do we have any questions?
I don't see any in the chat, but to our patrons who are joining, if you'd like to ask a question, you can enter into the chat, or we may be able to unmute you as well. So any questions you can put into the chat feature or the Q&A feature. We have both of those enabled.
All right, while we're waiting for folks to enter in any questions, I thought I'd just briefly show you our website, just so you know where things are located on our website. And our web address is www.sba.gov/mo for Missouri/St. Louis STLOUIS. It's a little shorter than what's there. So here's the area that our district office covers. We cover Eastern Missouri. Our office is located at 1222 Spruce Street on the 10th floor. This is our district director, who's been with the agency for over 50 years, but you would never believe it to look at her, and our deputy district director. Here's information on doing business in our area. You can find how to register your business and things like that. You can find local assistance. I usually just put in my zip code just because it's not the office zip. And you can see our district office. You can see a PTAC location. Since I'm close to the Mississippi River, you can see the Illinois PTAC. There's SCORE, although they do not operate out of our office anymore, but we haven't been able to get that fixed. One of the St. Louis Development Company, there's the Veterans Business Outreach Center. So you can see that there's lots of different resources that you can find on our website. And then as you go further down, this is information on our loan programs. This is our local lender list. So if you're ever looking for an SBA lender, you can download this lender list. Here's the lender match, and we haven't put up any lender reports in a while, so don't bother with that. We've been kind of busy with COVID. So here's our calendar. You can see, let me refresh this. You can see, well, it didn't refresh. Okay. Anyway, you can see SBA events. We've had a little bit of problems with our calendar lately, so maybe we're having problems again. But here's events that are happening, including this one that you're participating in right now. And then here's how you would sign up for our email updates. Here is our latest email updates that we've sent out. Here's one that we sent out on Friday about the disaster assistance still available for the floods. Here's the training update, and here's our Twitter feed. So with that being said, I know I rushed through that really quickly. Let's go back here and see if we have any questions. No, come on, Nick. I don't think that's what I want. It doesn't. Okay, let's stop share and see if we can get to any questions. So do we have any questions, Angela?
I don't see any yet, but Nikki, can you share how someone would just get started?
Sure. Well, if you were interested in applying for Hubzone certification, the absolute first thing I would do would be to contact one of our PTAC representatives here in Missouri. Let me see if I can't find that information. If you go to, well, let me share my screen. And then let me go to, let's share. So let me say you want to go to Missouri P-Tax. So I was looking something up for a client earlier today. So if you look up Missouri P-Tax in your Google search, so here's our Missouri Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. They are the pros. They get training all year long on how to, on all kinds of things contracting related, and each of them is a specialist in different things. So they ask each other if they don't know what they're, if they don't know the answer, then they'll go to somebody else. And if you're looking for locations, here in St. Louis, it's either Jamie Mitchell or Don Robertson. So let me see, view the specialist. Come on. So that's Jamie. And let's see, there's Don Robertson. So that is the first step. If you're in government contracting, your P-TAC representative, they should be on your speed dial. I'll be honest. And the government pays for, they are funded by grants, federal grants from the Defense Logistics Agency. So their services are free. You should absolutely take advantage of their services. And I really did rush through that program. I didn't realize I'd gone through so fast. So does anybody else have a question? Or Angela, do you have another thing that you'd like me to clarify?
Well, if you could just talk a little bit more about the types of businesses that contract with the federal government. Now, people may not be aware of.
Well, the federal government pretty much contracts for just about everything, with a couple of exceptions, such as we don't contract for, as I said, gambling. We don't contract for, marijuana, things like that. But we contract for transportation services. We contract for trucking. We contract for, building roads, building bridges, supplies. I'm a government purchase card holder, so I purchase supplies with the government purchase card. Let's see what else. Sometimes language services. I've had to have an interpreter, for example, for sign language. So there's just such a huge array. Training services. We pay companies to offer training that what's called 7J training, which just refers to the section of the law to help small contractors learn how to be better contractors. And usually we share a couple of success stories. And so let me share a couple of those. One of those is a fairly small company still. The lady's name is Sue Morton, and she has a company that's called Data Dash, and it's located in a rural area, and she provides good paying jobs in an area that might not otherwise have good paying jobs. And then so she's an example, not like a huge humongo company, but a success. She's had a successful business for a good long time. She's an Hubzone, and she's a former 8A client. And then another huge success for government contracting, probably the biggest one in SBA's history, is in the 8A program. And my friend Mary Alexander is giving a presentation on government contracting later this week. And the man's name is Dave Stewart. If you guys have heard, if you're living in St. Louis and you haven't heard of worldwide technology, you've probably been living under a bucket. because they have that huge building off of 270. They have the naming rights for the Worldwide Technology Raceway across the river in Illinois. They've got, they've donated money to all the local colleges and have their names on classrooms. And Dave Stewart tells the story that he was sitting at his kitchen table and his roof was leaking and his car was being repossessed. And he was wondering what he should do. And he was just praying, and somebody told him he should reach out to our boss, Maureen. And so he did. And he took advantage of the 8A government contracting program. At the time that he started, he was in transportation logistics. He later changed to IT services. And he is hugely successful. He's a billionaire with a B. And he wanted to prove that you can do government contracting and not be located in the DC Beltway. So he's proven that over and over again. And so it's just, it goes to show, and I would never say that somebody is necessarily going to be as successful as Dave Stewart, but I wanted to show how, let me see if I get that to come up. I wanted to show how successful some people can be with that. So here's a fact sheet from Missouri PTAC. They can help you determine your suitability for contracting, help you get registered, for example, in SAM. They can help you with certification, such as with HUBZone Certification, 8A certification, etc., or state registrations too. They can help you with marketing and see what agencies are likely to purchase your products. They can help you research procurement histories, help you with networking, help you find bid opportunities. They will send you a daily email on bid opportunities that are available in your NAICS code. So with your NAICS code, you will have a primary NAICS code, and then you can have several secondary NAICS codes. So they will send you opportunities in those NAICS codes. They can help you with proposal preparation, with contract performance issues, and preparing for an audit. So that your PTAC can help you with all that. So that's why I say they're such a fantastic opportunity, resource for small contractors. So are there any other questions? No questions? I know I went through it really fast, so I'm happy to answer any questions. This is like half of a webinar that we usually do together, so I'm used to having to rush a little bit more. So
I just thought of another question. If someone contacts PTAC and they kind of go through the process and learn about their eligibility, will they then work with someone at SBA? I know you all are connected, or will they continue and kind of finish the application process?
So the PTAC is the group that's going to help you with that whole application process. And they're going to help you with your contracts and things like that. For me, as the Hubzone Liaison, for example, I'm the one who will do site visits. I did a site visit earlier this year with a firm that's one of our Hubzone firms. And when people have questions and they can't find the answer online, then they'll reach out to me with the question. And excuse me, if I don't have the answer, then I will, go to headquarters and say, what's the answer to this? So, but yeah, the PTAC is a great resource. And then like for the 8A program that my friend Gary runs, they also, he does work with them too, but really, it's up to you as the firm to market yourself, because I don't know anything about roofing. I'm not, that great in IT services or whatever. You don't want me or Gary marketing your stuff because we don't know what you do. You know what you do. So, but the PTAC is a fantastic resource, and they have a really broad network to draw upon. And when they have questions, they do reach out to us. Are there any other questions? Can you think of anything else, Angela?
There was a question inquiring about the recording be provided to attendees. I was putting in the chat, but I will let patrons know that it can be provided upon request. Nikki has also provided a PDF of the slides if someone would rather have that. And we do expect our programs from the Small Business and Nonprofit Expo to be included in the St. Louis County Library's YouTube page, YouTube channel next week.
So yeah, and here's a little more about the Mentor Protege program. Let's see if I can go from the current slide. So your Mentor Protege program can help you access business development assistance, build capacity and grow, and establish joint ventures. You should pre-identify the mentor, understand the mentor requirements, the protege requirements, and the limitations and the required training. And then the Mentor Protege program enables you to form joint ventures, helping you compete for contracts, facilitate development opportunities, training, assistance, and financial support, and it increases the opportunity to increase your networks for future business growth. And Hubzone Certification. Say we did the Hubzone Certification. Let's see if they had what happened here. So if your business is in a Hubzone, or if you're looking at locating a business, I do urge you to look at a Hubzone area, because it can open it up for contracting opportunities for you. And there is a map on SBA's website where you can check addresses. And let's see if I can get to the screen. Question and answer. Oh, there's some chat. I see there's some. Let me see if I can bring that.
And Nikki, there is a question when you
get
to a stopping point.
Is there anything that shows where government needs are for contractors? So examples: senior services, transportation, housing, etc. So that's where your PTAC is a great place to look, because they can do that research for you. They can also look at USA Spends and see where the government has previously spent money. So that's a great opportunity for you to find out where and what the government is spending money on. And also your PTAC can help you with state contracts too, because there's a kind of a separate world. You've got state and you've got federal, but the PTAC will cross those boundaries and tell you about both. And when your PTAC does searches, it's going to do searches for all the states that touch Missouri, and include Missouri, and then all the states that touch Missouri, and sometimes other states will creep in. but you know, you're going to get Arkansas, and you're going to get Illinois, and you're going to get Kansas, and you're going to get, you know, all those states that are touching Missouri. You're going to find opportunities. So you're going to get a lot of opportunities depending on what your business is. So, did anybody else have a question? I do urge you, if you are a contractor, to you know, to listen in on a couple of webinars so you kind of get an idea of what exactly government contracting programs do. I urge you to, as I said, connect with your PTAC representative, and get all the experience you can as a subcontractor if you're not ready for prime, you know, for prime contracting work, because not everybody is ready instantly for prime contracting work. And it's really important that you be able to fulfill those contracts. Jamie uses the example of a warfighter. If if you were tasked to provide something for, you know, something critical for the warfighter, and you didn't get it there on time, you know, lives could be at stake. And I used to always give my son the example when we talked about, you know, the importance of attention to detail, you know, the O-ring on the Space Shuttle Challenger. So it's really important that you provide quality products and services to the federal government, because people's lives can be at stake depending on what you're providing. So. Let's see, I will stop sharing. So let's see if there are any other, I don't see any other questions, and nothing else in the chat. So if you're not in government contracting already, this is a great time to be in government contracting. The federal government and the state and local governments are going to be buying more things than ever because of the infrastructure bill. So they're going to be, you know, building roads and building bridges and running internet and having to teach people internet, and, you know, all these things that are part of that infrastructure bill are going to mean that there's going to be opportunities. There's also going to be opportunities to, for example, provide supplies to these major companies. So if you sell supplies, you know, there's going to be a chance for you to sell supplies to bigger companies, or, you know, parts or whatever to larger companies. So there's going to be probably more opportunities than ever before in government contracting with the passage of that infrastructure bill. So I would always encourage people to take a look at government contracting. Plus, the government always pays. May take a while sometimes, but we do always pay.
All right. Well, are there any other questions? Well, Nikki, thank you so much for all of this information regarding HUBZone. Every time I hear from you or any presenter at SBA, I always learn something. So we appreciate you taking time to be a part of our Small Business and Nonprofit Expo. Great job as usual. To our patrons, we thank you for joining us today. We do have a couple more programs that will be held in person at the Bridgeton Trails branch today. And then for the next 4 days, tomorrow will be at the Samuel Sachs location, Wednesday, Natural Bridge, Thursday, Cliff Cave, and Friday, the Grantsview branch. And we hope that you will attend some of the in-person or virtual sessions as we celebrate 10 years of providing small business and nonprofit services to the community. Everybody, thank you once again, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
And thank you for everything that the library does for all of us.
Thank you, Nikki, and just for everything that you shared at the beginning of the presentation as well. We appreciate it. You know, working together, we can all just do great things. So thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.